Myself Afsha, English lecturer at Elizabeth High School and Junior College. In our previous class, we have completed our 12th lesson of inter-second year. So today, let us proceed towards our 13th unit, that is Polluting the World. The name of the unit is Polluting the World. It is an article on the internet. Okay, what's the meaning of article? Article is a piece of writing that has been taken from the internet. So that is what the reason here the writer is anonymous. Anonymous means we don't know the one who have written this article. Okay, so the main concept of this is environment. Before beginning with the lesson, let us have a pre-reading first. The water we drink, the air we breathe and the food we eat are contaminated with several impurities. Have you ever thought of the reasons for the rising temperature of the earth, the drying up of rivers and tanks, the melting of ice at the poles and the rising of the sea level at various places? So what here it is saying, the water that we are consuming regularly is full of impurities, right? What is the meaning of impurity? Consisting of lot of dirt in that, right? Different dirt particles inside that. So the water we are drinking is full of impurities, right? Have you ever thought, right, what might be the reason behind the rising temperature of the earth? The temperature is rising day by day, right? What might be the reason for this, right? And what might be the reason for drying up of rivers and lakes? We all know that nowadays rivers and lakes are drying up completely. There is a scarcity of water even inside the rivers, right? So what might be the reason for this? And have you ever thought what might be the reason for melting of ice at the poles? Okay, and what might be the reason of the sea level rising of the sea level at various places? So what are the reasons behind this? Who is responsible for this kind of climate change, right? Pollution. Read on to find out the causes and effects of pollution. So who is responsible for all these things? Here the word pollution has been given. To be honest, we are responsible for polluting the environment, and pollution is ultimately responsible for all these changes in the atmosphere, right? So let us proceed towards our lesson. Living in a serene and pure atmosphere has become a dream of the past. This is because the world is becoming increasingly polluted. Pollution has not only caused widespread damage to the environment, but is threatening the very existence of future generations. So what it is saying here, living in a serene and pure atmosphere is now like a dream to everyone, right? Because the world is polluting day by day. The environment, our surroundings is full of pollution. The air we breathe is full of pollution. Pollution has not only caused widespread damage to the environment, but it is threatening, right, the very existence of future generation. So what it is saying here, pollution doesn't only have the impact on present era, but it will also have a bad impact on our future generations also. There are several factors which contribute to the pollution. It is essential to understand the gravity of the situation and take up remedial measures on a war footing. Only then we can prevent further damage to the environment and save the human race, right? We, the human beings, right, have to be responsible, have to become responsible, right? And we have to take care and protect our environment. Then only we can take all the benefits from it. If not, we will be in a great loss. In the essay Polluting the World, the writer expresses his fears about the survival of future generations in the context of increasing environmental pollution. The growth of population in the world is one of the reasons for pollution. So here in this essay, in this article, that is the Polluting the World, right? Here the writer is expressing his fear, right, about the survival of the future generations. He is saying that we cannot say whether the future generations will survive or not because of this extremely polluted atmosphere. And he is saying that the growth of population, it is the increase in population is the main cause for affecting the atmosphere. Progress in technology is another major cause of pollution. So the first cause he is taking is the increase in population, right? And the second reason, right, he is stating here is the progress in technology. How technology is polluting the environment? Because of the industries in factories, right, which are releasing the smoke in the atmosphere, it is causing a very bad impact on the environment, right? Pollution is also caused by quarries, mines, vehicles, industries, military poison gases and nuclear test. Water is polluted with industrial waste. Food is contaminated with fertilizers and pesticides. Air is polluted with the fumes of vehicles. So these are some reasons or some causes we can say that the writer here is expressing, right? He is saying that water is usually contaminated by industrial waste, right? What the big industries will do, they will throw the waste, right, in the water itself. That is what the reason, they are the main reason for polluting the water. And coming to the food, fertilizers, right, that is insecticides and pesticides that are being used nowadays, right, in order to grow the crops well, it is ultimately affecting the environment. And air is obviously polluted because of the fumes of the vehicles, the smoke that is released by the automobiles, that is vehicles. The survival of all living creatures is under threat and steps should be taken immediately to tackle the problem. So here what it is saying, the survival, right, the living of all the living creatures is in threat. What is the meaning of threat here? Threat is nothing but danger, right? So that is what the reason we have to take actions immediately in order to protect our environment. Governments of various countries as well as international organizations have swung into action to propagate the hazards of pollution. Campaigns such as the Swachh Bharat program generate awareness about issues relating to sanitation, health, the need to cleanse rivers and the need to check deforestation. So government in various countries is also trying to take part, right, in cleaning the environment, in protecting the environment. For example, in our country there was a scheme, right, that has been introduced, right? There was a campaign we can say that is called as Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and other one we can take it as Harita Haram. These are the initiatives taken by our Indian government in order to protect our environment, okay? Strict directions to industries for the proper disposal of industrial waste can ensure pollution control. It is the duty of every citizen to do his bit to keep the earth habitable for future generations. So one more solution the writer here is giving is, we have to strict direction to industries, right, for the proper disposal of the waste. They should be omitted, right, they should be stopped to throw the waste materials in the water. By doing this, we can save the water, right? So, and we, being the responsible citizens, each and every person of the country have to take action to protect our environment. It is the social contract we can say, right? Everyone have the equal role. Everyone have to play an equal role in this. So now the main text has been given and it begins like, one of the consequences of technology and population growth is the increase of pollution throughout the world. Everyone knows the future of all life on earth will be endangered if people do not control the contamination of the environment. We read about accidents that cause pollution of cities or the poisoning of millions of fish in big rivers, but few of us realize the full extent of the dangers that confront mankind. So what it is saying here, consequences of technology and the population growth, right, is the increase of pollution. The main consequence, the main result we can say is nothing but the pollution, right, that has been spread throughout the world. We human beings knows that the future of life is endangered, right? What's the meaning of endangered? That is in danger actually we can say, that will be going to harm, okay? So we all know that if we do not stop the contamination, right, if we do not try to protect our environment, then the life of our future generations is at risk. But we are not taking any actions for that. And we read about accidents that cause pollution of cities or poisoning of millions of fish. So in our newspapers we can say daily we come across such incidents, right, like accidents or millions of fish in the big rivers are dying, etc. But only few of us realize that it is an alarm to the mankind, right? It is a signal for the mankind that suppose for example we are coming to know that at one place the river have been dried. That is what the reason the fishes inside that river have been died, we can say, right? So we just read it and we neglect that by thinking that it is none of our business. But if we realize the main concept behind that, if we realize the consequence of that, it will ultimately affect the mankind, right? It is a harm to mankind, not only to fishes, right? It is an alarm. It is a kind of signal, we can say. Pollution can take many forms. Derelict landscapes caused by quarrying or mining, destroyed forest, industrial effluent, indestructible garbage, motor car fumes, farming chemicals, military poison gases, nuclear tests, etc. So these are some of the reasons, causes for pollution, right? So these are very common. You might have learned in your previous classes. Pollution can poison the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat. The pronoun we refers not only to men, women and children, but also to all our fellow creatures on earth, insects, birds, fish and animals. So pollution doesn't only have the impact on air, okay, that we breathe, but it also have a bad impact on the water that we are drinking and the food that we are eating. So here we doesn't only refer to the human beings, but it also refers to the insects, birds, animals and etc. Altogether we can say to all the living creatures in this world, on this earth, we can say. It is true that progress in knowledge has led to the development of science and technology, which has in turn profoundly altered our environment. For example, fertilizers and insecticides have increased agricultural output, which is required to feed the swelling population of the world. However, both give rise to pollution. Each one in the modern world has accumulated in our bodies a few milligrams of DDT, which is organochlorine, a type of insecticide. So here, what it is saying, the progress in technology, right, as we have discussed earlier, it is also a reason, it is also cause for polluting the environment. How the writer here gives one example, a good piece of example we can say, right, by using the insecticides and pesticides in the agricultural fields, the result may be good yield of crops, right, that will be sufficient for the swelling population of the world, that is increasing population of the world, but it is ultimately affecting the environment. How means the insecticides and the pesticides that are being sprayed on the plants, that will directly affect the air, right, that is around it, and at the second stage it will also affect the human beings that are consuming that food, because the chemical, right, that is DDT, that will be sprayed in insecticides and pesticides, that will enter our body, and obviously we all know that the chemicals that are poisonous, right, to our body will lead to bad effects. The DDT level in the fish is rising and already some fish eating birds are becoming sterile. Fertilizers used in farmlands are washed away by rain into rivers, lakes and reservoirs. The heavy intake content in fertilizers leads to wild growth of vegetation in them, which in turn deoxygenizes the water, and as a result all the fish is lost. So one more bad impact of the fertilizers or insecticides or pesticides is when we spray the fertilizers on the crops, right? Suppose if suddenly it rains, so what will happen? These fertilizers will automatically flow in the rivers, right? Will move towards the rivers and it will enter the river water, which will ultimately affect the fish life. So what is happening? Because of this, many organisms are becoming sterile, that is unable to give birth to the young ones. So that is a very bad impact of the fertilizers that is going on in present era. Increase the crop yield. In order to use the technology, we human beings ourselves are destroying our environment, right? Massive industrialization too has led to serious pollution of the environment. Millions of tons of smoke, sulfur gas, ash and unknown qualities of toxic byproducts are sent up every day all over the world, and we simply do not know if our chemical environment is slowly poisoning us all. What is even worse, the increase in the carbon dioxide content of the atmosphere from burning oil and coal may in time prevent the escape of the sun's heat from the earth, leading to a rise in the earth's temperature, the melting of ice caps. So what it is saying here, massive industrialization is the another cause of polluting the world, right? The toxic byproducts, right? The sulfur gas, the smoke, increase in carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere, that is a threat to mankind, that is a danger for mankind, right? Because of the contaminated environment only, right, the ozone layer have been punctured, we can say, right? Because of that, the UV rays are directly attracting the earth from the sun. So that is causing the radiations, right, that are emitted by the UV rays, we can say, that are emitted by the sunlight, we can say, is ultimately causing huge diseases in the human beings. So that is because of the polluting the environment itself. So we are only the reason for that. We cannot blame the environment, we cannot blame the animals, we cannot blame the plants and etc. We, right, the matured human beings are responsible for all these consequences. The sea has become a cheap dumping ground for all kinds of waste products. Although the sea has a great capacity to break down all kinds of waste, this capacity is not unlimited, especially in shallow seas. Industrial effluent gets washed out to sea. For industries tend to concentrate in coastal areas in order to be able to dispose of unwanted waste cheaply. Atomic waste as well as poison gases are dumped in the sea by industrial and military authorities. So here what the writer is adding, the sea has become a cheap dumping ground for all kinds of waste products, right? We human beings are using the sea, right? What is the sea? A water body, right? We are using the seas as a cheap dumping ground that is not expensive, we can say, right, for all kind of waste products. For example, industries nowadays are specially made near the water areas so that they can throw their waste materials in a very cheap price, we can say, without any expenses. They will throw their waste materials inside the sea, and ultimately they are polluting the water inside the sea. Chemical and biological warfare like nuclear warfare could one day destroy mankind. The weapons used destroy not merely the enemy but vast civilian population as well. It seems we can expect a steady rise in the leukemia and bone cancer in the world. So the wars, right, the nuclear warfare, we can say, in which nuclear bombs and all are thrown on one and the other countries, right, it is ultimately affecting the environment. Not only the human beings that are present in that period, but it is also affecting the future generations. You can take the example of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? The bomb, nuclear bomb that was thrown around the Second World War, we can say, till now they are facing the effects of that. The people who are not even responsible for all the wars that had been taken place will also suffer because of the foolishness, right, of the human beings. It would be foolish to shut our eyes to the dangers of the pollution that human beings cause. It is true that more and more people have become aware of the dangers of pollution. Rivers are being gradually restored to health. International organizations are trying to keep the seas clean. Industries are being asked to pay large sums to meet the cost of disposing of effluents. Campaigns are being organized against cutting down trees. Public opinion is gradually being aroused to concern, and if all of us become concerned about our environment, we shall be able to keep the earth habitable for future generations. So here what the writer here is saying, it would be foolish to shut our eyes, right, like the cat will do while drinking the milk. We cannot shut our eyes and we can say that we are safe. But we have to face the reality that we are in danger, and we have to take actions, right? Different schemes, right, are being introduced. Different plans are being introduced by the central government and state government. And we as the responsible citizens, right, being the responsible citizens, we have to take care. Right? We have to implement the rules that are given by the government in order to protect our environment. Like we have to plant different trees at different time. We have to plant n number of trees, Okay, and we have to start keeping our environment clean, our surroundings clean, right? Industries, they should stop disposing the waste materials in the water bodies. Okay, the in agricultural fields, they should avoid spraying of insecticides and pesticides, right? So all these measures, if we really try to follow, right, then only we can protect our environment and we can keep it safe for our future generations. So I hope you all have understand the importance, right? I hope you all have understood the importance of this article, why this article have been given to you. And I just hope, being the responsible citizens, right, being the youth of India, you will also try your best to protect our environment. So that was all about today. Let us continue in our next class.